Ciao ragazzi, my name is Anthony. Thank you very much to the 5 people that are already here with us on Football Worldwide and across all platforms. It's an absolute pleasure to be sitting here with 2 friends from the city of Melbourne. Let's go around. It's good to see you again, Adam.
Good to be back, mate. It was, I missed it last week. So good to be back and lots to talk about.
Lots to talk about. And Zio Armo joining us, the elite Zio Armo in his elite clothing in the elite car park. It's really good to see you, my brother. Any Zio Armo is better than no Zio Armo.
Thank you, guys. Thanks for letting me in just from the car park of my gym, where I have a 20 minutes break in between clients. But I would like, I don't like to miss out. So thank you.
Love you, man. Love that. And there's so much to talk about. And we're going to move your boys right to the front. It's really, really good to see this man get on the score sheet for the first time. Remember, we were talking about him last season and you were a little bit iffy. You weren't too rating these Sassuolo attackers too highly. But, ironically enough, here he is in your jersey, Zio Armo, and I like the kid. I liked him last season. You know why? It's not just that he knows how to finish, because let's face it, he's a small guy. Physicality-wise, he's never probably going to measure up, but his positioning and his ability to finish for his size, I've been a fan of him since I've seen him at Sassuolo, and I think this is exactly the sort of goal at a precise moment to get Raspadori off the ground, man.
It's not sold to me yet. Out of all the Napoli market players, the only one that I was not excited about. He played a horrible game against on Sunday. He played a very horrible game. No one understood why Spalletti took Crava out and not him. But that's up to Spalletti, to him, to pulling out the winning goal. But once again, if it was for the goal, he had one of the worst games ever. It's young. I'll give him time. I'm more excited about Crava, Simeone, Anguissa, the big boys. These kids here will have time to shine.
Fair call. How'd you like the game, man? It was always going to be a grind. It was always going to be a tough result because, Spezia play painful football, even when they're not doing well. They just struggle to pick up results because they never have the 90 minutes in their legs. But they made life difficult for you like they do for most teams.
The Spezia will struggle to get points anywhere because the way they play is not football. It's anti-football. They sit 12 players in the penalty box. So, yeah, they might score a couple of upsets, like a couple of draw. That might be like one countering attack, but in the long run, if you want to save your team, you have to try to take some risk and try to score some goal as well. Napoli, to be fair, could have been 2 or 3 up in the first half. Crava was unstoppable again between the post and goalkeeper stopping us. As the game was going on, fatigue kicked in for us because we're playing every 2-3 days. But I'm glad to win this kind of game. This is the type of game that we normally lose or draw. So I'll take the victory.
Beautiful. And while we've got you on here, because, we might not be able to speak to you for another week or two, the 4-1 win against Liverpool. Well, what a catalytic moment for you guys under Spalletti. Sort of like one of those matches where you see sides level up and really grow. What was your reaction and feeling to winning a game like that, man?
I think taking consideration the two teams on the pitch and the background of Liverpool the last few years, it's probably one of the biggest victory in Europe on history of Napoli. This is probably bigger than beating Bayern Munich at home in the semi-final or beating Juventus at home in the semi-final of UEFA Cup or quarter-final. Not because the meaning, but because the score and what Liverpool represent. I watched the game. I'm upset that we only scored 4. It's supposed to be 8 or 9-1. The way I am, I like to punish the English teams. They're always arrogant. And you know what? Liverpool official Twitter page messed up big time. I think one of the responsibility of the 4 goal is the Liverpool account. You can't go out and start trashing about Napoli because you come to Napoli, we're going to hit you back like a tank. And that's what happened. You trash talk about us, you go back home with 4 baba, 4 margarita, and 4 sfogliatelle in your backpack.
Is this the same account that also tweeted for fans to be careful because of the violence in the city? Stay in your hotel, order room service, blah blah blah.
Yeah. They made a mistake. They're supposed to tell the team to be careful and stay at your hotel, not the fans.
Fair enough, brother. There's 8 people with us at the moment. That's awesome. Like the video, subscribe if you are new. Adamo, comments on Napoli before we move on?
Yeah, just on the Liverpool fans. I mean, there's an old saying in Napoli, as you probably guys already know. You cry 2 times when you arrive and when you leave. And Liverpool fans certainly were crying when they left. It was an all-round awesome performance. Would have been fantastic to be in that stadium. It was just rocking. I don't know if you saw the video, guys, of the Champions League anthem being recorded like from about 1 kilometre away, and it was just like the decibels. I think it reached 113 decibels or something, which is extraordinary. So, I did watch the Spezia game on the weekend. I thought, I agree with you, that Dragowski was probably their best player, especially in that first half where. Napoli dominated and just couldn't put the ball in the net. Happy for Raspadori because I really like the kid and I hope he keeps progressing for him and for the national team. Napoli left some key players on the bench. Although Guisa is probably in their starting lineup. They did have Zalewski on the bench. I think it's been one of their best players so far since the start of the season. Lozano and Simeone also coming into some form. I've got a question though for Ziamo before he goes, and that's on Politano. Before I do speak about Politano though, I can't believe that they're top of the table with Juan Jesus and Mario Rui in the starting lineup. It's just unheard of. But the questions about Politano, Ziamo. He's been. I mean, look, since he left, even at Inter, he's certainly up and down. Do you think he's improved under Spalletti since leaving Inter, or do you think that he's just one of those players that sort of plods along, and what we see now is the best we're ever going to get out of him? Do you see any improvement in him?
First of all, I was not a big fan of Politano from Inter. I don't think Politano is one of those players that make you do the step towards the champion. Having said so, he had a big season last year under Spalletti. Big improvement. And even this year, he's probably ahead of Lozano for me right now because the way Napoli plays now is faster and his combination with Di Lorenzo on the right wings, it's been very good. And I think in terms of national team, that's something people should start thinking about. See the shine and players they play together in their teams, like used to be in the 80s. You get the 3 defender from one team, the 2 midfielder from another team. And at least they used to play very good together. To answer your question regarding Politano, yes, he did improve. I think he had a bad season at Inter more than improving at Napoli. He didn't have a proper season at Inter. Right now, he's at the same level that he was at Sassuolo. I don't think we're going to see anything better. I don't think we're going to see anything worse. I think that's Politano, He might have some cracker game where he scores some cracker goal. He might have some average game where he soft the left back from the other team.
Yeah.
I'd have to agree as well. Armand, do you have five more minutes?
Hey, the Liverpool game. I don't know if you watched the video of Mertens being and on the last things mentioning about Zalewski be the best player so far. It's easy to pick. Once you get rid of the 2 weights, Insigne and Fabian, Insigne was killing Zielinski. Zielinski had to cover up, had to continue come back because Insigne never go forward. Received the ball, turns. Either try to do the tiro a giro in the crown, or after 100 tiro a giro in the crown, I hit the goal here and there, or pass it back to Mario Rui, back to the keeper and back again. And same Fabian, guys. Fabian is a pretty boy on the ball, but off the ball, he was killing Napoli midfielder. I'm so glad that they left, and you can see the result. Everybody else is flourishing. Mario Rui is having one of the best seasons I ever seen. One Jesus, just to mention to our friend Ada, which I don't believe either. There is an highlights of one Jesus versus this year so far. All the game he plays, he looks like a monster. You know, sometimes those players all they need a bit of a couple of good game and they change their mentality. I was reading that he had some issues at Roma where he had issues with a couple of the coaching stuff more than he was no good. So that's helping the head.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Like, you know, certain coaches get the best out of certain players, and Spalletti has always been able to get the best out of Juan Jesus both at Roma and Napoli. So, you know.
Yeah, in fact, yes, he was good at Roma when Spalletti was there, was he?
He was, well, I wouldn't say great, but he was okay. Be
a third centre back or fourth centre back for a team that try to top four. It's a good defender, you know. I like a lot the one we got from Genoa. Sturdigard, I like him. He's very good in the air. But guys, Kim has been a wall, and he's simple and clear. You know, impressive good. You think about this guy play one season in Turkey, and he comes from the South Korean or Chinese championship, and you know he plays in Serie A like he's been playing Serie A for a few seasons already. So, you know, I was positive before. I can only be more positive now.
Very, very good. Do we have you for much longer, for a few minutes, or you have to head off, Zilamo?
No. I got a few more minutes. We can talk about a few other teams.
All right, beautiful. Let's jump straight to the most controversial issue of the match day. Then we've got, wow, I like that. Yeah, nice one. Hey, I put that together myself. Honestly, like it was chaos, man. I woke up with about 25 minutes to go, and when I get to wake up at that time, I always put whatever game I'm interested in the background as I'm getting ready in the morning, and I could not believe what was going on, and then the chaos that comes with it afterwards and the red cards. We can only talk about it and give our opinions at the end of the day, but ultimately you can't really be down 2-0 at halftime to Salernitana, and even if you do make the great escape like they used to, blame anybody else but yourselves. So let's go around. Adam, first, your reaction to more drop points for Allegri at home, but the big thing is that last goal, man. So we'll go for it from the top. I'm very curious.
Look, they didn't deserve to win based on that third kit, the new third kit. You can't go out and play football like that and deserve a victory. That's just horrendous. And we spoke about this last season that, like the creativity of the away kits and the third kits is great, but look, they need to have some connection to your club. And these third kits that Adidas keep producing, it just got where is the relevance in those colours? I don't get it. Anyway. We digress on that. Juve needs to win these games at home. There's no two ways about it. You can't wait for the last 5 minutes to be 2-1 down and then hope to snare a victory. The job needs to be done in the 90 minutes, and unfortunately they didn't do that. In saying that, look, the obvious thing is as soon as I saw the replay of that, I go, yeah, that's offside. He made a play for the ball in offside position, and letter of the law is that's offside. Whether he touched it on a 60's head, whatever. And I made a comment on Facebook about it. And then about an hour later, I was sent this image. And I thought it was photoshopped that Candreva was standing at the bottom of the picture, keeping Gucci on side. It was just extraordinary. To be honest, I was asleep on the couch, to be honest, when this game was going on. And I woke up with 10 minutes to go. So I woke up right at the right time to watch it live. And then obviously watch the full highlights later on. But you guys would have to agree that since VAR was introduced, this is probably the worst VAR decision we've ever seen, right? You can't have... It's
bad.
You can't have technology where... And do you know what? In defense of the VAR room, which isn't at the stadium, right? They're all in communication with each other, including the assistants. So that linesman who was on that side of the pitch should have radioed in or made a comment saying, guys, have you taken into account Candreva's position, who was on the far side? Like, are we not? Like, where are we at with this? Like,
are we 100% sure? Like, that's what my next comment was. Are we 100% sure that he's not playing him off in some way, shape, or form? Because these margins are so thin. And I think Admiral and I were joking about it in the group chat that, like, everyone studies geometry. Like, there's so many different lines and angles. One outlet has one line, the other one has the next. It's like a whole bunch of different opinions circulating.
For me, from what my opinion is that and this is the rule itself is that the attacking team gets the advantage here. So, but like it's still inconclusive, right? The Lega hasn't come out yet and given us a response as to whether it was or it wasn't based on this new imagery. So they need to come out now and say, look, we made a mistake, or say no. If you look at these angles, it was actually a correct decision. Right?
Yeah.
These lines are just like we need a picture from the correct side of the pitch, so near the corner flag, with the lines going across the pitch, not like this. This is still inconclusive.
Yeah. Armando, what do you say as our friend Chicho comes into the chat? He's not happy.
This game needs to be split in three factors. The tactical factor, the first half, Allegri destroyed Juventus. I hope they keep him for another 5-6 years. That's a security for the rest of Serie A. The Juventus will never win. Allegri, so bad. He's got. Look the team that he has, name by name. You cannot be 2-3-0 down after with Salernitana. Out of the contest, Allegri needs to go. If I was a Juventino, I'll be asking for his head. I don't know what they're doing. The management over there lost the track 3 years ago. When I said it, remember I told you that Agnelli was losing it. He lost his friend. He lost his power. No one will back him up. People were laughing at me. They think that because I say that Juventus is supposed to be disappear and Agnelli to jail. It does not work that way. But you clearly can see that he lost his power, friendship, and anything. Lost the plot. No one deals with him. Stop having favor from the referee. Stop having good favor on the market. Everything is finished with Agnelli. He's dead. Capuche. And if people don't see that, it's their problem. Now we go to the offside. If Candevra is in the picture and keeps him on, it's not offside. If Candevra keeps him off, it's offside. Out of the question. Oh, we all agree with that. I'm not gonna speculate on the 100th frame and line show to social media because each one is being done by individual. They try to bring the truth towards their side. I agree with Adam. You got two options here. The federation come out with the way they spoke and say, "Oh, we stuffed it up because we don't have the image that's been circulating on internet today because that's from Juventus private camera, which he is. It's a Juventus tactical camera. There is no link to VR." Or they're gonna say, "We have the proper image. We check on him. This is the real angle," and that's the only one that can give us a line. Anybody else, it's me against you against him. We go, okay. So I don't want to comment on that. What I want to comment on, the chaos started after Sunday. There was a huge handball from Monza defender, a huge hand was wide, and the referee did not call it. Bologna goal against Fiorentina started with an elbow on the head of one of the defender. Then the players made a cross, and the Bologna striker score. So it's not Juventus be penalized. It's the quality of Serie A referee that's really poor. And we've been saying that for many years. Now, sadly, some Juventini, not all of them, because, we got a lots of friends and we speak a lot about this. But a lot of them demanding to be understand, to be feel sorry for them. What about, do we need to start making a list? I can start from the penalty that Bologna scored in the final against Liverpool. What about, I can go all the way to the goal of Turin, the Montari. What about the Napoli-Juventus Cup final when they steal us, the penalty, because it was a penalty for us, a counter-attack, fake penalty for them. We want to start taking in consideration everything. I'm not going to feel sorry for Juventino. I will be pissed if I was a Juventino, because to me, you call off that goal at the last second. I'll be upset as a fan. I understand you. But don't come here and tell me and cry on the referee when for 9 years, all I had to hear was the referee is the excuse of the loser. Instead of blame the referee, blame your club, buy better player, buy this, buy that. Hey, not even a couple of years later, they all there crying for complot, crying against referee, against the federation. You know what? that means you are guilty, because if you blind them now, why you don't accept the advantage that you had for the last so many years? That's what I don't understand. I repeat, one of the worst call I see is Candevra keep him online. The referee, it's not his fault, but the people in the VR room needs to be suspended. The referee can only trust what they show him. It's not his fault. So I don't blame the referee. But that's if and but. But in the meantime, they created a big picture of Juventus being attacked by the federation, when we all know that's not the case. It's always been the other way around.
Yeah, no, fair. You don't need to tell me twice. And especially, I saw this this image on Italian TV. I'm not too sure what channel, but it had a little tally of the decisions that have been reversed in your advantage and in your disadvantage. And it said that Juventus have lost 18 points because of VAR decisions going against them. And it's weird to see some of their fans posting it and trying to use it as a flex in a way, because what that tells me is something else. That means you're still getting all of the decisions on the pitch from the referees. It just so happens that there's a contingency plan here, and that contingency plan is like a toxic relationship to you guys at the moment. And it is what it is, because at the end of the day, with the players at that disposal, as you said, Allegri just needs to be better. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
The end of the story, and then I'll let you talk, and then I'm leaving. The end of the story is this. That's not a thing against Juventus. It's referee and VR fighting, and they screwing us the football, because referee wants to take full power on decision. It's this problem we solve very easy. Remove all the referee, put sensor in the soccer player's socks, and that's simple. You got the offside, done. And it's only the legs, only the foot, the part that is involved in football. Doesn't matter if you got your shoulder, your head. Everything will be in line with your socks, with the sensor of your socks or in your boots.
Yeah, well,
but that would be too easy.
I think we're a little bit off that type of technology coming in. I mean, that's years off. It has to be tried and tested and all that sort of stuff. It's got to go through.
No, what I'm trying to say, it's not the technology is the problem. It's the people that use the technology the problem.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
I agree.
Because at the end of the day, how come this image was available on TV a few seconds later, but not in the VR room?
Yeah, how does it take them that long to relay the message? And more importantly, how does it only take the referee 3.5 seconds as he looks at the monitor to make a decision and run away? The whole thing was just messed up communication-wise.
The people told him in the ears, you want to look, have a look, but it's offside.
Yeah, but make sure you make it look like you're working hard for it.
Without the Candevra thing, if Candevra was not there, that was offside, somebody would win, but it's offside. Because at the end of the day, the rule is the rule. I don't like the rule, but it's offside because the players
Just to finish off on this, I think that the bottom line is, has officiating improved in football since VAR came in? I'd say yes, but not in Italy.
Because I still think it has a little bit in Italy. It accounts for a lot of the human errors that these dumb, miss on the pitch.
I know, but their interpretation of some of the fouls and the handballs in Italy are just like there was a we're going a little bit off track, but there's a red card in the Empoli-Roma game this morning at the end of the game, where if you look at it in real time, there's no way that's a straight red card. It was possibly a second yellow for that player to be sent off, but the ref gave him a straight red card after reviewing it on VAR. But it's slowed down so slow that it's like when you look at it in real time, it's a foul, but it's not a red card offence. So the interpretation of the rules it's just a little bit too extreme in Italy.
You said it right. The problem we have right now, there is so many things that is still in the hands of referee to interpret it and make a decision. And until you put a human being interpreting something, you always have somebody that disagree.
Yeah, I agree in a sense. Yeah.
Unfortunately, we will be here talking about referee mistakes until there is a referee involved in a game. Then when the referee is not involved in a game anymore, we'll be here complaining about something else.
The robots.
Football. We'll complain about the robots being set up by some geek that is in favor of a team and another. You know what I mean? So I'm over it. Well, listen, I agree with the Juventini. If Candevra is in the picture, that's definitely never offside. They'd be upset. But from be upset to start pointing like it's the worstest thing in the history of football, man. You're really talking about? You're the one that got a penalty given in the Champions League final 6 meters outside the penalty box. Not 1, not to 6 meter. Boniek was halfway line.
Yeah.
Not even American, not even USA. A referee will give you a penalty 6 meters outside the penalty box, and they have no clue about football.
Yeah.
That's it. Zil, I don't want to keep you from your client, man, but it was so good to see you jump in.
I really hope the Adam proved me wrong with Dybala, but to me, Dybala still had Insigne with a bit of class. We don't need those players in our team, Bello.
Dybala is as long as we keep him healthy, he'll do what we need of him this season.
I think the real champ in the Roma team is Pellegrini, man.
Oh, he's had a rough couple of weeks, Amo.
Yeah. I know, but doesn't matter. Everybody can have a couple. I think Pellegrini is the next De Rossi. You know what I mean? The next.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, yeah, guys.
Ciao, Bello.
Ciao. Hey, thanks for coming in, man.
Guys, don't get upset. We've been having that feeling for the last 12 years, so it's okay.
That's it, man. That's it. All right. Ciao. Thanks for coming through. Let's go to your boys, man. I was about to jump in and say, yeah, Pellegrini looks like the most shook at the moment. Like he hasn't really found his feet properly this season under Mourinho. Did he miss a penalty? I missed a lot today. Did he miss a penalty today?
Yeah. So at 2-1, Roger Ibanez made this forward slalom run, winning the ball on the edge of the front third and streaming into the box and won a penalty. And Pellegrini took it. I thought that Tammy might have taken it, but Pellegrini stepped up took the responsibility and hit the crossbar and went over. It sort of typifies his I'd say probably the last couple of weeks he's been down. He started off okay in the first few games of Serie A. In the game against the Bulgarians on Thursday and the Serie A match last week, he's just hasn't hit his stride yet. But, we know his class. There's plenty of time. We just need a bit of midfield rotation, I think, just to give him a rest sometimes as well because he covers so much ground when he plays. But when Zaniolo comes back, he might just drop in and sit in with Matic or Cristante. Which will give him a little bit of respite there and relieve him of the duties of literally being a box-to-box, but Mourinho demanding that he gets high when we got the ball up high. So, and being that link between Tammy and Dybala.
Paulo is the name, man. Talk. I want to hear it because I like the backtracking because I knew he was going to do great things, and he is doing great things. He's being used well.
Man, he just uses class, man. Like every time he gets the ball, and he's in the same look. I can't wait to see when they're both firing him and Zaniolo together. Getting some rhythm and getting some understanding between them because both technically, as we know, gifted. Zaniolo's just a little bit better in getting past players and powering through players. Dybala's just got that class where he just draws players to him, which opens up space in other areas of the pitch. His first goal today was fantastic. Just one step, hits it, top corner, keeper no chance, just with pace, and then literally involved in every forward move that we had. I'd say. It doesn't always come off, and we know that. He's going to be stopped here and there in his tracks by defenders. And also involved that he completed an assist for Tammy at the back post to slot it home. Had another chance himself where he probably should have scored, but it's okay. He's coming on. Like I said before, Diamo left us. As long as we can keep him healthy, he's going to do. He'll be brilliant for us, I think. And he's starting to find some rhythm with this bloke as well, with Tammy. So. Who was good to get a goal because he started off. He's another one that started off a little bit slower than he left off last season. But we expect these peaks and troughs with these players. They're not going to stay at the top of their game for the whole year. So it's just for Tammy, he's a confidence player. As long as he's scoring, he uses that confidence. So as long as he's there or thereabouts and popping in goals every 1 or 2 games, he'll have another solid season as well. Credit to Empoli though. I thought they set up really, really well. They're racking, although they're not up there, they have been racking up points, and unfortunately they've all been draws. But you can see why they're taking points. Defensively, they're sound, and their ability to hit on the counter is dangerous at times. They hit the post. When we're 2-1 up. So they're probably might have deserved more, but in the end, we were just able to grind out another Mourinho performance, really.
Yeah, I'm really happy to see Interlone Martin Satriano get regular minutes at Empoli. He really needs some minutes under his boots, and
Yeah.
I've always been a fan of his, and I'm looking forward to him coming back at the end of the season because I actually think he'll be that odd one out of your Bonazzolis and your Pinamontis, out of the younger players to actually hold down a spot. So I'm hoping he keeps getting regular minutes alongside Destro. It's a good partner to have, and Empoli, by my watch so far, should survive relegation this season, man. Milan next. Talk about grinding out results. They've picked up just where they've left off last season, man. When they went down to 10 men after Rafael Leao's very selfish and silly second yellow card, I honestly thought that they were going to cop a 1-1 draw. And out of nowhere, they get a little bit of lady luck, but you make your own luck. And Olivier Giroud is just an opportunist, and he draws the penalty 2-1 away. And a good weekend for Milan when it looked like they could potentially drop some points against, let's face it, a dross Sampdoria side who played well against Milan but suck in general.
Yeah, bit of a brain snap there by Rafa, considering they've got Napoli this week. So he'll be a loss for them. But, Milan, give them credit. They, good teams find a way to win. And although they didn't play well, they found a way to win, which is always traditionally a really hard place to go, whether it was Genoa when they were in Serie A or now Sampdoria. Marassi is a really tough place to get 3 points. So, they did really well there to grind out a result. Gianpaolo in discussion again. How many wives is this guy going to get before he's just relegated to a different league or a lower league in Italy? Because although he had a really good team Sampdoria the first time, he's just gone downhill ever since.
One season. He's coasting on that one season the whole rest of his career.
Yeah. Just an interesting point, and sorry to go back again on VAR. I still can't wrap my head around, and I was having this discussion with Anthony Keller, about the Sampdoria goal, and we were drawing lines in PowerPoint, like trying to work out how the Sampdoria, the header was onside. So I was flipping the image so like the 6-yard box was lining up with my eye line, and drawing a line across the page, and was still trying to work out how it was onside. Unless, it wasn't even the fact that he could have cut the ball back, because the ball went forward and he was forward of the ball. So I don't know again what VAR's looking at. But anyway,
shambles.
Yeah, they got. If it was offside, then Milan definitely deserved the win, because they were stiffed on that one.
Yeah, 100%. Can you stick around for a little bit longer?
Yeah.
Beautiful. Let's move into textbook Atalanta, textbook Gasperini stuff. As soon as more than 2 people on the planet start to talk about them as being even remotely close to going towards the top of the league, they drop points against Cremonese, who haven't been in Serie A for over 2 decades. So. What do you make of that right there, man? I think Luis Muriel should have tried to get a move somewhere, bro. I think he's done his time under Gasperini.
Yeah, and he'd be a handy player anyway, wouldn't he? Not even in Serie A, even clubs in Spain would benefit with having him in the squad. I'd love to have him at Roma. Even though I'm happy we signed someone like Belotti, I think someone like Muriel would suit Mourinho's game a little bit better, especially the fact that we held on to Shomurodov. And let's face it, El Shaarawy's always injured, so he's certainly sliding well. Look, having watched this game, man, the overarching thought that I had after the game was how close is Serie A going to be this season when Atalanta are flying and all of a sudden they drop points at home against someone like Cremonese. You know what I mean? So if they've been the benchmark, and them and Napoli have been the benchmark so far, Napoli, grinding out a home win against Spezia, which, although Napoli had the lion's share of possession and the best chances, they still only won 1-0 with a couple of minutes to spare. So I'm just thinking now that from what we've seen so far, and obviously this can change, it's going to be a really, really tight season. And the fact that it's a really different season to any other we're ever going to experience again, having the mid-season lengthy break for the World Cup. It's going to mean that the squads that are healthiest on the backside of that are probably going to run away with it. So in that respect, that's the only reason I'm happy that Italy aren't in it, is because we've got so many Italian players in the squad. I'm not saying that we're going to go and win the Scudetto. I'm just hoping that we're challenging for top 4 come April. May,
Yeah.
those months there.
Yeah, fair call. We needed it very late. It was Lecce version 2 for us with Marcelo Brozovic getting on the back end of a Barella assist. We were not good again. I'm glad that we seem to be able to find a way to win these games, because I'm hoping that when we do pick up a little bit more fluidity and Romelu Lukaku comes back and Gosens gets a few more starting minutes under his belt. But, that's a couple of things I would change out of about Inzaghi going forward this season. Give Robin Gosens a chance to recapture that scintillating form that he had under Gasperini at Atalanta, and rotate the players like Bellanova and Aslani a little bit more, because I do think in a competitive Serie A league where, like you just said, physicality and non-fatigue matters, like these are two young guns with, if for lack of a better term, just shitloads of muscular strength and endurance under their belt, just waiting to pop off and let go. And if you're going to bring them on for 20, 25 minutes while you're chasing a game, or even looking to hold down a lead, you can't lose, in my opinion. And especially when it's no disrespect to them, but Matteo Darmian shouldn't be playing full games. Danilo D'Ambrosio shouldn't be playing full games, even though they both haven't. I'm just saying, rotate more. Rotate players like Brozovic a little bit more. I know he's grabbed a goal in the last minutes there of the game, but we need to rotate our players more. Inzaghi needs to have a little bit more faith in a couple of these younger players, man. But overall, 3 more points to keep us thereabouts, and that's all I want from into this season, is stay thereabouts until April, May. What are your thoughts watching us, man?
Yeah, just getting back to, I'll get back to Inter in a sec, but I was really impressed with Torino. They created a lot themselves, and it could have gone up during that match. Really impressed with that number 16 on the left side, Nikola Vlasic.
He's very good.
I don't know what you thought of him, but really good player to support Sanabria up there. Lukic had another good game also. But on Inter, Anth, I think you're right. I can't see Damian pacing up and down that flank every game for the rest of the season. So they're going to have to make a change there at some point. The question I wanted to ask you was around Barella, because he's so key, to the way you guys to your fortunes. Where's he at? Like, I'm not seeing the brillantezza that I've seen in the past with him, the ability to change a game off his own boot, or at least bring his teammates into play and make them shine. He's not even at his peak yet, right? Like in his progression at his age and in his maturity as a footballer, he's almost there. But I still think that we're still yet to see the best of him, the peak of his powers. But it seems a little bit down as well, and the same sort of richness as Pellegrini for me. So Pellegrini's sort of having these up and down games, but Ella's sort of in the same boat, I think.
Yeah, I think so, man. Like Bruno and I were speaking about this recently, and we're just saying, like, he's been one of our best players this season, but he hasn't been great. In fact, we don't even know if he's been good. He's just been there, and his moments of quality and class have got us points. We shouldn't be asking him to do that, though, because, when you look at Barella's skill set and attributes, he's never been a technical player. He's never been a creator, so to speak. He's just a really versatile box-to-box player that can tackle hard, has a good sense of space, can play long and short passes, and can shoot a ball as well. But he's not a trequartista. He's not a playmaker by any means, and he's been burnt out for a long time. I think that you really see the limitations in players that play around him when they're tired, but I think that he's been an immature player for a long time, mate. And I think there's the regular Inter fans that watch him for 94 minutes properly, week in, week out, know what he's like in terms of his temperament and in terms of his emotional instability throughout games, throwing his hands up and blaming other players. He has started to grow out of that a little bit. And I think the same could be said for a player like Lautaro Martinez. And I look at these players and I think, you know what? They've had to grow up a little bit. They've had to grow up quite quickly in this club. They've gone from, say, young proteges to locker room leaders just in the blink of an eye. And I think they're being forced to grow up quite quickly, which is all good. It's not an excuse. Hats off to them. They'll be better players in their career for it. But like you said, he's not even hitting his peak yet. And that's because players like he and Lautaro Martinez are still 25 and under. You got to remember that. So more power to Nico Barella. I wish he could be rotated a bit more as well and rest him. He's looked burnt out since 2020. And I don't think that's going to change anytime soon with Slavia Prague and fixtures around the corner. It's 4:40 p.m., brother, and we have a game in less than 12 hours.
Well, yeah. So yeah, it's just they're coming thick and fast. Maybe the mid-season break's gonna suit him like it's gonna suit our Italian players as well.
100%, bro. 100%. But yeah, we'll see what happens, man. As you said, it's going to be tight. It's going to be a tight squeeze this season. And just going on, I did include this slide for a reason. I think this is one of the guys that's showing that sort of grinta and just that ferociousness that we need. He didn't get on the score sheet against Torino, but he was very good against Torino. So let's see how El Toro goes. And with the World Cup around the corner, it's the sort of World Cup where as long as this guy scores 2 goals alongside Lionel Messi, that'll add another 25 million to his value. I'm 100% sure of it. We already did Napoli, so the slideshow is a little bit inconsistent because we jumped the gun. Let's see what else we've got here. Man, I can hold a conversation about this game if you can. Beto is an animal. He is such a good player. And Destiny Udogie, I think he's already been signed by Tottenham. He's actually on loan for Udinese, but they're playing good football. Inter's up against them next. They're fourth. They will be that team this season that starts strong and then just fizzles out eventually, but they'll be pretty confident going forward, man. Great start to the season for them and more inconsistencies for Sassuolo at home against their home fans.
Yeah, Fratesi, interesting that there's still talk of him potentially coming during the winter break or the January window. So watch that space for that. I don't know where we fit him in now that we saw Kamara from Olympiacos, but if another player was to go down injured long term, I think they may seriously look at him, even though that we probably financially can't afford him, or not like we can't afford him. It just throws the books out, so books out of whack. So we'll see what happens there. But Udinese just backing up so they scored 7 goals in 2 games in the last 2 games, which is off to a flyer. But yeah, you're right. We'll probably see them once the season progresses sort of fall away a little bit. Unfortunately, we had to play them at the start of early in the season away from home at the Dasha Arena where they're so strong. So good luck this week, mate.
I'm not looking forward to it, man, especially since we're in the Czech Republic on a Wednesday. So that should be a really, really fun trip. I'm absolutely looking forward to that. Stefano Sensi got on the score sheet. Interesting, as Monza tie Lecce 1-1. There was an interesting incident with the players getting in the way in view of the goalkeeper again, like Zio Amo said. So the inconsistencies with VAR remain. Me personally, I'm a bit of a petty guy. I don't know how this guy with a great training staff like Antonio Pintos and Antonio Conte couldn't get fit for more than 2 games in a row. People have said it's a little bit too physically demanding for him, but they ran a lot of tests on this guy. And I actually think it was a little bit mental for him. And I didn't appreciate the amount of Instagram videos and TikTok videos he was doing with his missus at the time that he was injured as well. So I reckon there was some home injuries there that accounted for him as well, man. But we'll see how Monza go. Any comments on these 2 sides before we quickly move on?
No, look, I do expect both of them to be bottom half and in the relegation zone for at the end of the season. Having watched both of them now, although Monza, there's a bit of light on them pre-season because of all the signings. I don't think any of those signings are, they're not great signings. It's just that there were a lot of signings of players that we knew and we knew their names. It feels like that they're just trying to, glue this team together and try to just plug in these pieces of a puzzle that don't really go well together. So that's the Galliani way, isn't it?
That's it, man. Ciro. I read a stat today. There is no better statistic in terms of assisting a player to score than Serge Milinkovic-Savic to Ciro Immobile over the last how many years. And you got to give them credit for that. Even as a Romanisti, the Sarri train rolls on. For me personally, this is the most consistent I've seen the Sarri's more ball for his time at Lazio. No surprise, it is his 2nd season here now. It's taking effect well in a club with minimal egos. And I think that's what you need to play good Maurizio Sarri ball. So what are your thoughts on that one, Adam?
It's the first time, Anthony, over the last couple of weeks watching them that you can actually see that triangle movement, the triangle passing, getting a ball forward quick pass, then the triangle passing again in a different zone, and then getting a forward pass, and the players moving in symphony. It's the first time I've actually seen it work at Lazio, like we saw it for many years at Napoli, which is scary for me, but yeah, hopefully they don't continue with this form. But it's actually as a sportivo, as a football fan, and not as a Romanista, it was actually really nice to watch. Don't know if I say that without feeling sick, but you know what I mean.
I know exactly what you mean, man. Verona just can't really seem to get it right so far this season, man. You think they're due for a relegation battle?
Yeah, I do. and also because of the players that they've lost.
Yeah.
They've lost their main protagonist from last season, Simeone, and their best player from the season before that, Inzaghi. So. Yeah, and they haven't really signed anybody of note, which we knew they wouldn't. I mean, about production, not about getting good, star players in. So they might be the Genoa of this season potentially.
They just might. You'd think that players like Henry, Verdi, who else do they have? Juric, Ilic, Farione can probably get them over the line in respect to other sides in Serie A. But yeah, it could get ugly. It'll get worse before it gets better for them this season. That's for sure. Man, I know the Man United fans were really pissed off with this rumor, but you could do a hell of a lot worse than Marko Arnautovic with the form that he's been. Not only this season, man, but he just bangs in goals. He's had a great season for Bologna last season. Thiago Motta, it wasn't done on paper in terms of him even being an interim manager. So I think he was actually just at the crowd officially as a Tifosi, but he is going to be the caretaker / semi-permanent manager coming through for Bologna as they beat another disappointing performance from La Viola. There's a bit to talk about in this game, man. Like, honestly, there was a couple of controversial decisions as well, but it all happened so quickly in the space of, 9 minutes, the 3 goals. Fiorentina took the lead, and then bang, bang, nice and quick for Bologna, 2-1. Arnautovic continues to shine, and Musa Barrow continues to be an exciting player for them as well.
Yeah. Was it, can you clear something up for me, Ed? Was he linked to Inter at one stage?
Arnautovic or Barrow?
Arnautovic.
Arnautovic played for Inter in the treble-winning side way back in the day. He just never got minutes, and he was a little bit of a smart-ass. He was really good friends with Balotelli at the time. He got a decent amount of minutes in a couple of... I know he played in the Champions League because he was up there doing the celebrations with the players.
No, I remember that.
Other than that, he's never really come back. No, and I don't think the rumors of him coming back have really ever been solid.
I might have read something on one of those bogus websites that I really need to steer myself away from. But I thought that it might have been a rumor that he might have been returning as like a backup striker. Although you've got Dzeko there, so you don't really need him. But okay, that's fine. What I wanted to talk about quickly, Anthony, on this one is where's Italiano at? So much hype about him at the start of this season because off the back of the season that he had last. But I don't know whether teams other coaches have worked it out, or whether he's just got this group to a point now where this is the football that they're going to play, and we'll just hope for a mid-table finish. Like where are they at?
They've got such good players, and if Uncle Sharma continues to watch, I'm sure he can jump in with a good comment about Fiorentina and Italiano. But I didn't think it would. I know it's only 6 games in; it just doesn't look like it's clicking for them this season just yet. But it really, really should. They should have been able to continue on from the good form that they finished in last season. And I think that with the quality of players that they've got, it will get easier for them throughout the season goes by. But they don't want to be involved. If the season is as close as you and I are both predicting, that they don't want to be on the back end of too many sides, because would you consider it a disappointing season for Fiorentina if they finished outside of, say, a Conference League spot?
Yeah, I would, because like when you got players coming off the bench like Saponara, like Mandragora, like Cabral, like, they're sitting on the bench for a team that's in the Conference League, like finished in the Conference League spot. And they've got guys like Satil, Jokic, Kwame up front.
Amrabat, Barak, you name it.
Bonaventura, I think, is getting a little bit long in the tooth now in terms of his mobility. I just don't think he hasn't got the explosiveness like he used to have. But like they're a good side. Like on paper, they've got some really good players. So I just think, and let's remember too, we're 6 games in. Like it's a really long season, this one. So they may come good again, but I just think that they're not getting the full worth of the players that are in their squad.
Yeah, and that'll come down to Italiano, of course, because we didn't even mention Kwame, who's in good form when he plays. Castrovilli off the top of my head as well. Cristiano Biraghi, the captain. Like the names are definitely there to challenge for the Europa League spot. So I would agree it would be a disappointment. And let's see if they could pick up. For Bologna, the only way is up now. Big shout out to Senesa Mihailovic. You can tell that, with his physical health, the relationship between he and the club just reached the natural decline. And I think just with respect to both parties, they always had this sort of thing in mind and an agreement with each other, maybe a sort of an off-paper gentleman's agreement that as soon as things start to get a little stale when you return, maybe it's best to pass it on. And I feel like it was more of an amicable split.
Yeah, definitely. We wish him well. I mean, even though he was an Inter player and a Lazio player, he was a Roma player too. People forget that. So we sort of launched his career, and wish him all the very best with his illness, and hopefully he does a Vialli and gets over it, and we see him for many years to come in and around the traps of Italian football.
Yeah, thanks for the comment, Mike, and thanks for the 15 people that have stuck around with us. It's been a really, really good show. I'm glad I should have put that image up before of Italiano, but that's all right. Yeah, we'll see how he goes for the rest of this season. I think that might be it. The slideshow was inconsistently ordered, so let me just double check that it's everything. Yep, that's all the games, man. Who's up next for Roma?
We've got Atalanta at home on the weekend.
Do you play in Europe as well this week? Like
we've got a home game on Thursday night, Friday morning for us here in Australia against Helsinki.
Mm. And you're at home. You're not going to Finland.
No, we're at home. We go to Finland at the height of winter.
Mourinho's gonna love that one, man.
It's another Bodo Glimt trip for us to the Arctic Circle. So he's gonna love that, and another synthetic pitch too. So let's hope it's.
Can't wait for his post-match press conference after a very entertaining 0-0 draw. Yeah, man. Adam, thanks for coming through, man. It's always more enjoyable when you're here.
Thanks, mate. Appreciate it, and hopefully we talk again next week.
100%, man. All right, from all of us here at Football Worldwide, ciao.
Ciao.